Hi everyone, it's Kari back again with you on the channel to share a fun shaker card. Today I'm going to be using the Nested Keyholes die set from Missing Stamps, and you can see there are lots of different sizes. You can use any of these sizes you want. I'm also going to be bringing in the brand new Key to My Heart mini set, which I absolutely adore. There are heart-shaped keys, there are hearts, and there are heart-shaped little lockets in there, and it's perfect for this shaker card. I'm also bringing in a couple of different stencils that I love. Let's go ahead and start putting this card together. So I've got a sprayed background that I've just used some Distress Oxide spray on and let it dry. And now I'm choosing one of those keyholes to cut out a front panel. Then I'm going to take one of these stencils, and I can't decide which one I want to use. But in the end, I settle on this vintage keyhole stencil. So I'm going to tape this panel down and start inking on some of those keyholes. I'm using my magnets to hold this down, which I love to be able to do. And then I'm just going to go in with some darker blue ink for this. This is Uncharted Mariner, and I'm just going to add this all across the front panel. And to add a little dimension, I'm bringing in some black soot distress ink and just inking on the bottom of each of those keyholes, just a little bit, not a lot, but it does add a little dimension to the feel of this card. So you can see a little preview there. I'm just going to go through and do that very quickly to all of those vintage keyholes. This is turning out great. Now I'm going to cut some acetate to fit behind that keyhole. So I've got a larger piece here, and to attach it I use a little bit of double-sided adhesive tape, and I'm just going to put that all around the keyhole here, and then we'll attach the acetate to that. I'll cut the acetate down to fit behind that panel. So as I remove those, you'll see this acetate is a little bit bigger than what I need. That's okay, I can easily cut that down, and that'll perfectly be our window for this card. I'm using an anti-static dryer sheet. This is an old dryer sheet I keep in my bottom drawer. I like to use this so that it doesn't have static to hang on to some of those pieces as they shake around. And now I'll take a white gel pen and add some accents to each of those keyholes. It's hard to see in the video. I think you'll be able to see it a little better in the photos at the end. Now, one of my very favorite stencils, you can see it's well loved, lots of use for this rabbit hole stencil. I'm going to use that for the background and just add a little bit more interest to this background, the sprayed background. So I'm placing that right where I think it needs to be to show through that keyhole die. And I'll ink on some light blue here. I already have a little repositionable adhesive on this stencil, which I really think helps, but I use my hand to hold down some of those pieces as well. And I'm very careful in inking this on the direction that that stencil goes, and then it makes it pretty easy. So I just want to make sure I get all of it here, a little more on the bottom. And now we can pull that stencil off and look at that cool background. So that's going to look great behind our die cut opening. So I'll put the ink away, and now we can start building this up. I've got a nice thick card base here. I'm just going to reinforce that score line so it folds flat using one of my favorite bone folders. And now we can go ahead and add the back panel to the card base, just using some liquid adhesive. So fun. I love the look of that. I'm going to place some acrylic blocks over the top to let that dry and dry flat. I'll use one of my magnets as well. And now it's time to add some double thick foam adhesive around this keyhole. And I found if you take the backer off, so this is sticky on both sides now because I took the backer off, but if you do that, you can easily turn and shape it to be whatever shape you need it to be. So I'm doing this to go around this keyhole and keep it in one continuous piece of foam. That will easily keep those shaker pieces inside without having too many breaks. And I'm just going to paint around the inside with some anti-static powder so that it's not sticky around the inside, because I find when I cut shaker pieces out of paper, sometimes they like to stick to that inside of the foam tape. So by doing this, that prevents that. And now I've got all my pieces here that I've cut out of that glitter paper and also some silver paper. So I've got silver metallic and a glitter, and I thought those dark blues were just a little too dark for my card. It didn't really work for me, so I'm going to add more silver and lighter blues. But I have a couple different shades of light blues, and that's going to look good like that. I also am going to add some glue to one or two of these keys so that it always stays up top of the shaker and it doesn't all fall to the bottom. I've got some gems here as well in a light blue. These are so beautiful. I'm going to add those to help things shake around just a little bit. So I'm going to place a few of those, and I also glue some of those in place so they'll always stay up while it's shaking around. And last, I'm going to add some little micro beads as well. This will also keep things shaking around really great. And these are just white clear beads, so you don't see that nearly as much, but it will help with the shaking. And I like the sound of it. So here we go. I'm going to remove the back to all that foam tape, and we can place this front panel on top. I want to make sure I move all of the shaker pieces in so it doesn't get caught underneath our foam tape. So I'll just kind of scooch those in a little bit. Yeah, there we go. And we'll add this right to the front. I'm very careful when I add that to make sure I get that on straight. I'll push that down and look at the shaking going on. I love it. So I've already colored up Alice, doing a little curtsy here. And it's from this set to the left. And now I'm going to choose a sentiment. MISTI has some really great Alice's Adventure sentiments on all of their Alice stamps. And this one here, I was just kind of debating. But in the end, I decided to choose this one that says, "Curiosity often leads to trouble." And that was perfect, I think. That's from the Alice's Adventures stamp set. So I white heat embossed that on some dark blue cardstock, and I played around with the layout for quite some time, but ended up with this one here. And I kind of like the key and the little key locket at the top in the dark blue, and then the dark blue sentiment. But all the shaker pieces are lighter blue and silver and just so pretty to match Alice. This is a really fun shaker to make, and I think it would be fun to also add a frame of that keyhole around the edge as well. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back with more card inspiration real soon. Bye-bye.